Multiple people have died after attempting the TikTok boat jump challenge. Scientists have discovered a heat blob on the far side of the moon, and health professionals are being asked to call the vagina a bonus hole. These are the weird stories for Tuesday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast in the vast galaxy. I have 3 weird news segments from around the world for you. As always, thanks for joining me. The TikTok boat jumping challenge is claiming casualties. Sadly, at least 4 people have died in Alabama recently while attempting a very dangerous TikTok challenge. It's called the Boat Jump Challenge, where people jump off of, you guessed it, boats. They jump off boats that are moving, sometimes moving very fast, and they jump into the water. This is leading to drownings and whatnot. I hate to see so many people sacrificing their life to the TikTok god, but I've covered many stories where these challenges have led to maimings, poisonings, deaths, etc. It's very sad. We have a quote here from Captain Jim Dennis of a rescue squad in Alabama. I'd imagine the rescue squad is pretty busy in Alabama because people do dumb shit there. Jim says, the 4 that we responded to when they jumped out of the boat, they literally broke their neck and, basically an instant death. This TikTok boat jump stunt is not new. Videos posted of people jumping out of moving boats have been posted since 2020, but more people are trying this challenge as they're out on the water during these hot summer months. And as you know, the world is hotter than it's ever been. So a lot of people boating, a lot of people watching TikTok while they're boating and trying these stunts that they see. Monkey see, monkey do, as they say. And these challenges seem to get more and more risky as they try and top themselves with each challenge. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a jump into a wood chipper challenge or bury yourself alive in the ground challenge. We have a quote here from someone named Gail. She's the executive director of a foundation that cares. She says, you can wind up with broken bones, a broken neck. You could end up running into the propeller of your own boat, or another boat could run you over, and that could cause lots of damage, possibly drowning, possibly death. Gail continues to warn regarding this boat jumping challenge. Hitting the water from a moving boat is like hitting concrete from jumping multiple stories up. And if that's true, then this is more dangerous than I thought. I've jumped off boats into moving water before, but they weren't going that fast. Also been thrown off of various, water skis and inflatable tubes and hit the water pretty fast, but luckily haven't broken anything. You could easily break your neck. This is very concerning. Experts added that wearing a life jacket while jumping out of a boat would not be able to prevent some serious injuries or death, like breaking your neck. The only way to be safe is to not try this TikTok challenge at all, they're saying. And that makes sense. TikTok was reached out by the media, and they added some warnings on some of their videos and noted that participating in this activity could result in you or others getting hurt. TikTok said that it's not accurate to characterize or report this as a TikTok challenge, adding that they can't comment on something that isn't a trend on their platform. Well, it seems to be a trend, and it's taken some lives. So you ought to probably take down these challenges. They should be just full-time people on TikTok taking down dangerous challenges, I'd imagine. There should be, if there isn't. Because TikTok is like a serial killer at this point. It says here, other social media challenges have caused harm or taken lives, including the Skull Breaker Challenge, where one TikToker said she had to get surgery after she stood in a line with her friends who kicked out her legs from under her, causing her to crash onto the floor. And in what's called the Salt and Ice Challenge, some users reported getting second-degree burns after putting salt and ice directly on their bare skin. Well, I didn't see that Salt Ice Challenge. That's not smart. This is all very sad and concerning, and I expect it to continue because my country's filled with idiots that are also addicted to social media. And, it seems to be creating so many Darwin Award winners, When I was a kid, my stepdad used to say things to me such as, if your buddy jumped off a cliff, would you? If your buddy did this, would you? And now kids are just saying, well, it depends. Did they do it on TikTok? Scientists have just discovered a heat blob on the moon. It's the sound of science. That's right, scientists have been looking at the moon for a long time. They just discovered an anomalous blob of heat on the far side of the moon. This mysterious hotspot has a very strange origin. They say it's likely caused by the natural radiation emanating from a huge buried mass of granite, which is rarely found in large quantities outside of Earth, according to the new research. On the moon, a dead volcano that hasn't erupted for 3.5 billion years is likely the source of this unusual hunk of hot granite. Or it's a Nazi space base. I think Hitler had a Nazi space base up on the moon, right? That was the rumor anyways. Well, it's probably radiation from a dormant volcano, or it could be Cthulhu emerging and getting ready to pounce on Earth. Right, guys? You guys know about Cthulhu. Look it up. Now, back to the facts. We have a quote here from the author of this study named Matt, who's a nerd working at the Planetary Science Institute in Arizona. Matt said, "This is more Earth-like than we had ever imagined can be produced on the moon, which lacks the water and plate tectonics that help granites form on the Earth." Matt and his colleague Rita of the Southern Methodist University discovered this heat with a new method using microwaves to measure subsurface temperatures via the Chinese lunar orbiters Chang'e 1 and 2. They also used data from NASA's Lunar Prospector and Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiters. They got a lot of equipment. Now, what they found was an area about 31 miles, 50 kilometers across, where the temperature is about 18 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius, warmer than the surrounding areas. This region was below a 12.4-mile diameter spot on the surface that is rich in silicon and that is thought to be a collapsed volcanic crater. The dead volcano last erupted 3.5 billion years ago, but magma from its pluming system is likely still sitting below the surface that's giving off this radiation that they're finding. Rita goes on to describe this in scientific terms. It's what's called a batholith. This is a 50-kilometer wide batholith. A batholith is not a word that people with a lisp say. It's a type of volcanic rock that forms when lava rises into the Earth's crust but does not erupt onto the surface. We have examples of this in the United States. El Capitan and Half Dome in Yosemite in California are examples of similar rock formations as well. The researchers reported their initial findings in the journal Nature on the 5th of July and then presented additional details a few days ago at the Goldschmidt Conference on Geochemistry in Lyon, France. One particular nerd named Steven was very excited about this discovery. He says, "The findings are incredibly interesting. Granite is extremely common on Earth, but not elsewhere in the solar system." Well, I believe the moon broke off from Earth at one point. Isn't that a fact? I think I'd have to look that up. But I believe the moon at one time was a piece of Earth. At least I've heard that as a possible theory, which would explain why it's got granite, because granite, is all over the Earth. And there's another possible theory of what this heat blob could be on the moon. It's something that I came up with. It's probably a microwave oven, a giant microwave oven, 50 kilometers wide, that aliens have built so that they can make popcorn and just watch us humans destroy ourselves on what is probably the best reality TV in the entire galaxy. Do you want to create a podcast? Spotify's platform lets you easily make, record, and distribute a podcast and even earn money all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters. Record and edit on your phone or your computer. Send it to Spotify and everywhere podcasts are heard. They even have video podcasting options as well. Spotify for Podcasters allows you to earn money with ads and subscriptions too. Best of all, it's free. Try it. Download Spotify for Podcasters or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your life, man. A female healthcare organization is suggesting health professionals call the vagina a bonus hole. because it's offensive. A bonus hole. All right. I've been calling it a bonus hole for my whole life because it's a bonus. It says here, people are condemning this organization after it suggested that the vagina could instead be referred to as the bonus hole, quote, to avoid upsetting non-binary or trans men. Not everybody's approving this new noun, bonus hole. Female rights campaigners today rounded on the alternative glossary, saying that this is misogynistic and utterly dehumanizing. I mean, when you're going to start calling them holes, it is utterly dehumanizing, in my opinion. This term was featured on this organization's, it's a cervical cancer trust. They placed it on a page for health professionals who are treating patients who have the disease. Today, the trust insisted it was not suggesting that this term bonus hole should be used by all women, but added it was important to reach trans men and non-binary people. But the bonus hole term, which the cause says was developed with expert organizations who work with the LGBT community, was widely condemned. Fortunately, the Cervical Trust also provided an alternate name for the vagina. They suggest it could be referred to as a front hole instead of a bonus hole. But I don't like either of these, to be honest with you. It sounds terrible. Very funny what's going on with the language and the culture these days, but good for Weird AF News, of course. There is a quote here from someone named Carolyn, who is the founder of Conservatives for Women. She says, the gender movement seems actively to want to encourage body disassociation and hatred. In other words, to actively create more confused young people alienated from their own physicality and their own sex. What better way than to use this utterly dehumanizing language about our own bodies? Well, I think she's a little over the top there with this blanket statement. I do agree with her with this particular term, though. These, when you're throwing hole in there, I mean, it is dehumanizing language. I agree with that. The cancer organization defended themselves, saying that the term was created with the help of the LGBT Foundation, and they've added that using the wrong terms, if a person does not use them, can lead to them feeling hurt or distressed. Yeah, but I mean, maybe we can come up with better terms than that. And I would say remove bonus from any of it. That just seems weird to me. Although if you called my penis a bonus pole, I wouldn't be offended by that. But don't call my herpes bonus bumps. No, those aren't bonus bumps at all. Just kidding, guys. Jonesy doesn't have the herp. I just have HPV. And now we have someone named Kelly J in the story. She's the founder of Standing for Women. She says parts of this glossary are an erasure of female language. She says, the whole thing is loathsome, but bonus hole and front hole are very, very misogynistic. Now, if a woman is so triggered by the word vagina, I should imagine she needs some serious psychiatric help rather than the world bend to her never-ending list of irrational demands. You would think that charities focused on cervical cancer would have better things to do than erase the female language. The cancer organization says their glossary page is not promoting the use of these phrases with all women. It is a list of phrases that the nurses may hear some patients prefer. It includes a glossary of terms they may hear from their patients and was developed with expert organizations who work with the LGBT community, they claim. They say, quote, women are our main audience. However, some trans men and or non-binary people have cervixes, and to reduce as many cervical cancers as possible, it is very important that we also provide information for this group and the health professionals who support them. Yes, that is absolutely true. And it's a very tricky situation because these individuals don't want to call it a vagina. But these alternatives seem to be strange, and I highly doubt they got them where they say they got them, is the LGBT, etc. community giving the words bonus hole and front hole as the alternatives. I just find it very hard to believe, but I'm not in that community, so I really don't know. Anyone out there and can confirm the term bonus hole is being used? I just, well, I guess every hole is a bonus hole if it means something to you. Yay! Hi, my loyal listeners. Thank you for spending some time with the Weird AF News podcast, the only daily weird news podcast in the world. Your host, Jonesy. I got a lovely message on YouTube from Chastity Reyes. Yes, the podcast is also on YouTube, where some people listen to it there. So Chastity wrote a nice comment. She wrote, "I love your podcasts, Jonesy. Just got it on YouTube. Perfect. Now I can hear you every day. Good luck with both our lives." That's great. Good luck with both our lives. Yes, Chastity. Good luck with both our lives. And thanks for the comment, and thanks for listening to the show and showing some support. I really appreciate that. I love the comments. Be they positive or negative, I read them and often reply. I got some lovely comments on the Spotify version of the podcast as well. I know a lot of people are listening on Spotify, and you can rate it there and write a little note on individual episodes. Naughty Moon wrote a comment. "Hi, Jonesy. I love when you make me giggle, snort, and gregariously guffaw." Gregariously guffaw. That's amazing. What a great command of the language, Naughty Moon. Then it says, "Thank you. Hey, my birthday is the 8th. Since I'm from Florida, will you please sing the alligator song for me? I sing it a lot." Yeah, alligators everywhere. All right, I'll play the alligator song after this for you, Naughty Moon. Wishing you a happy birthday. Sorry, I'm a little late on that. Belated happy birthday to Naughty Moon. Also, Amira wrote a comment on here. Amira's a big fan of the show. She wrote, "Blue cheese is amazing. Have you ever been to the cheese store in Carmel, California? Oh my God, one of my favorite stores on the California coast." That sounds amazing. I love it. I love a good cheese store. I got one in my neighborhood. It's like artisan cheese, very fancy. I live in kind of a hipster neighborhood, so perfect place for an artisanal cheese store. But I've never gone in because it looks like I can't afford a crumb when I look in there. I'm like, oh, I can't afford any of this. So I just walk on by. But I'd love to go to a cheese store sometime. I do love cheese. I like blue cheese very much, as I've said. I like most cheeses. Very, very into it. Love pizza. Love cheese on everything. I love a grilled cheese. Oh, grilled cheese. I digest. Let me wrap this outro up. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, please consider doing so. And if you'd like to support the show, go to weirdafnews.com, the official website where you can buy Jonesy a coffee, or join the Patreon, or click on the Patreon link in the description here. And if you want to write a comment or a review, there's various places you can do that, like Amazon and Apple Podcasts and whatnot. Always welcome reviews. And I always appreciate your time. If you'd like to email me, it's funnyjones@gmail.com. Maybe you want to call the show because you want to react to one of these stories that I did today. The number is 646-450-2012. Leave me a message. I would love to hear from you. Okay. Nighty-night. Bye-bye.
Got an alligator in my backyard and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Got an alligator in my patio and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Had an alligator at my birthday party and nobody cared. Nobody cared. Had an alligator in the front seat of my Volkswagen and nobody cared, 'cause it's Florida. Alligators everywhere and nobody cares. In Florida there's alligators everywhere and nobody cares.